Hey, you all, welcome back. Y'all already know what it is. You see the title of this video. This is Real Housewives of Potomac Season 7, Reunion Part 3. And y'all, Part 3 could have been an email. But we are here. I'm going to warn you, there's going to be a lot of things that I don't care about because between Giselle lying, Ashley lying, Robin lying, Mia lying, Karen lying, they done wore me down. They have worn me thin, y'all. Water, I need water. I need water before I start. I might have to refilm part 2 because there was a lot of I don't cares and dismissiveness. And don't nobody want to watch a review like that. But I'm just warning you for part 3, there's a lot of things that didn't make sense. So let's just go ahead and pick back up with Jacqueline and Mia. Listen, I said this in part 2, but just in case you didn't watch it, both Mia and Jacqueline are lying, and I don't have time to decipher who's lying more, who created the storyline. The bottom line of it, the skinny of it, is that Mia didn't have a storyline, so she invited her good girlfriend, her best friend, someone she has called, like her sister, to be a storyline. And that's why they were flirting with, oh, we've checked each other's vaginas, and I want it to be an OBGYN. Girl, I don't have time for those type of lies. Like, to me, I could understand you bringing a friend on the show so you could have a storyline, but why would you go as far as to making it sexual, especially if this person is like a sister to you? We examine each other's vaginas. It just, Mia, something, my spidey senses go off about her. Something ain't right with her, but everything they said, I don't care. Jacqueline is trying to make herself seem better because, oh, Mia needed me for a storyline, but you was with the bullshit. You was with the BS, Jacqueline. So you're no better than Mia. You were lying. She was lying. I don't think there's anything I want to know except this. Mia said she was mad at Jacqueline because basically Mia knew that G is a prostate cancer survivor. And so basically Jacqueline was implying that G can't get it up. Listen, Jacqueline didn't have to imply that, Mia. We already know that. There's nothing about G or Ray, for that matter, that I look at and I think they are outstanding performers in the bedroom. That's why, Mia, you, in order to keep a roof over your head, have to turn the tricks that you do and have G watch because he ain't performing no more. You barely got those kids out of him. And I know you have, because in the first part you said they was your insurance policies. That's what she said, not me. She may didn't use those words, but that's what she said. Well, Ashley should have had one more child to secure the bag. So we don't have to spend any more time on this. Moving on. Next, Charisse reemerges. I didn't know Charisse had a fan club. I did not know Charisse had a fan club. Like, I didn't know that people really love Charisse. I was wholly unaware that there was this struggle for who's the real Grand Dame, Karen versus Charisse. You all, when I hear Grand Dame, I think of Karen. Karen has coined it. I'm pretty sure she has trademarked it because she seems to be a prudent businesswoman in some respect. I don't think of Charisse. That doesn't mean Charisse isn't wealthy. That doesn't mean that she doesn't have the Potomac address. She could be all that and then some, but she's not on the show. And I really don't want to see her on the show because even though Andy told Karen that she wasn't brought back to specifically take her down, that's kind of how it looked. Not even kind of, that's how it looked. Now, let's get into Karen's segment, right? Just like Giselle, Karen didn't have much going on, and her segment was mainly about Charisse. I don't know why she doesn't like Charisse. I don't care. I don't know if she doesn't like Charisse because it's personality differences, as Ashley said, or is it because Charisse put her on blast about an affair? It could be both. Could be one. Could be the other. I don't care. Let's say Karen did cheat on Ray. You're damn right I wouldn't be friends with someone who put my business on blast. You're damn right I wouldn't. So I don't know why that's so difficult for everyone to understand. Now, in terms of Karen's mom's funeral, it is very tacky to show up to places you are not invited. I had 3 people, count them, show up to my wedding uninvited. Absolutely not. Immediately no. It would be even more tacky to show up to someone's funeral and you're not invited. So in that case, Charisse, you should not have shown up. Period. If you were not invited, then you do not go. Karen refuses to speak further about her mom and her services, which this is what Karen does. This is her MO. Anytime Karen is backed against a wall, if she doesn't want to answer something, she either abruptly ends the conversation or she diverts it. And that's exactly what she did this whole time, which is why I'm not spending a lot of time on it, honey. I ain't gonna spend all that time on it, and Karen didn't even want to answer questions. Karen lying, saying Wendy Williams was her inspiration. Then saying it was Cara Brunette. Saying that she didn't like Charisse, but we find out that she's invited her to different events. Oh, well, Matt invited her, but you could have told Matt, hell no. Call her up and tell her she's not invited. These things are choices, and Karen, I'm just not here for it. They didn't wore me thin. Let's quickly touch on Karen cheating on Ray. So here's the thing. All of these women, especially Robin, I think Robin has said that they don't get their rumors from the blogs. It's actual people who know Karen who call them and tell them. And Karen's response to that is like, Robin, I hear a lot of stuff about you too, and I protect you. And I believe that, especially with Juan being seen around town doing laundry with what? Was she an assistant coach or whoever she was? That woman did favor Karen. I was almost shocked. Now, that doesn't mean they're having an affair, right? But because of Juan and because of his known infidelity, anytime he's seen with a woman, people are going to think that he's sleeping with her. Doesn't make it true, but that woman did favor Karen, by the way. I was like, ooh, maybe Karen wasn't lying this time. But anyways, Karen's cheating allegations. They discussed Mia saying that Karen was having a relationship with a restaurant owner's friend and that friend is family. I don't believe Mia. Mia is lying. If I haven't said it enough, I'm saying it here. I don't believe anything Mia says. Mia could say that the sun is shining and I wouldn't believe her even if I saw it for myself. That's how much of a liar she is. I don't believe this person is a family friend. I think it's something that Mia completely made up once again, because then when Karen said, well, give me the name or give Andy the name because I'm going to sue them, then she start backpedaling, right? Well, it's family, so I don't want to incriminate them. I mean, if you say you didn't do it, you say you didn't do it. No, you can't keep making up these wild, false accusations about people. And then when your back is against the wall, when someone's going to send you a C&D or threaten a lawsuit, then you want to say, well, if you didn't do it. No, you've already defamed me. You've already sullied my reputation. Don't do that. Stop lying. And Wendy did say something that was true, which is everyone in this group hates when a rumor is told about them, but they'll quickly repeat a rumor about someone else. And she ain't lying. It's 100% accurate. Every single last one of them, including Wendy. We're going to move on to Robin's segment, and we're not going to stay long here. So I found it interesting that at the end of her wedding, Robin turned her behind to the camera and patted her cheeks and gave us the bird. But meanwhile, Juan is patting the cheeks of a Canadian woman at a hotel that he paid for. Oh my God. You patting your cheeks and he patting someone else's cheeks. The irony of it all. Prenup, she says it's 50-50. Are we surprised? I hope we're not surprised. I hope we're not surprised, okay? There's no infidelity clause. And then Robin says, well, I thought about it. What if I'm the one to cheat? Robin, what if you're the one to cheat? Andy, that was your opportunity to say, have you ever cheated on Juan? That would have, while everyone was laughing and giggling, I would have sat there and been like, Robin, well, have you ever cheated on Juan? Have you ever stepped out on him? Has she ever been involved with a man outside of Juan? Now, normally it's not our business, but she's been with him since high school. I really do believe that Robin feels like Juan is the best that she can get. And that's why we're here. I don't think Robin would ever cheat on Juan. I really do believe that Robin loves Juan. I don't think Juan loves her. I don't think Juan loves Robin at all. He tolerates her. She's convenient. They have children together. Like he said, he wants someone he can share his life with. And if they didn't have children, he would be gone. I never want anybody to be with me out of obligation. You know, unrequited love, it's a hurtful thing. And you looking at Robin, honey, we just gonna have to pray for Robin. we got to pray for Robin because it really is, when you peel back the layers, it's a very sad situation to be in. But anyways, what else do I want to discuss? Karen's obsession with the wedding. Karen admits she was a bit obsessed. Karen was rude as hell. Even though it was funny at some parts, after a while, it was no longer funny. You don't have the right to keep pressing people about when they're going to get married and put that pressure on them. Someone had asked me, do I feel Robin was pressured to marry Juan? No, I think she wanted to marry Juan. I think Juan was pressured to marry Robin. I don't think Robin was pressured to marry him. Now, in terms of the show, I think they did it so that she could secure her spot, not knowing that the mistress would come out from a couple of years back. But I do think the wedding was probably pushed by production. Like, Robin, if you're not going to do it this season, then we going to wrap this up. We going to call this storyline over and we won't worry about you next season. So maybe in that regard, she might have been, but I think she did really and truly want to marry Juan. I don't think Juan wanted to marry her. But we could be wrong. Well, I mean, what do we know? Juan's anger with Robin when she called him about what Karen said. So here's the thing. Robin said that, you know, Juan doesn't like the show and he doesn't want to be involved. You know, Juan seems a little ungrateful, if you ask me, because after you invested all of your money with your friend and he took it and ran, right, with it, and amongst other things that he did, joining this show is the reason why you all are in the financial position that you're in currently. If it wasn't for the show, you all would probably still be broke. You know how hard it is to bounce back from foreclosure and bankruptcy? From my understanding, if your house has ever been foreclosed on, you can't get a loan from a bank again. You have to purchase a home with cash. From what I understand. I could be wrong. Unless you all had the cash available, you would not have that beautiful home that you live in now, which is very nicely decorated, by the way, which I was surprised because of how Robin dressed. But whoever decorated her home, very nice. I love the little mirrors and the decor she had, very nice. But Juan seems a little ungrateful and he seems like he's above the show. Well, then since he doesn't want to be here, then maybe you shouldn't be here either. Now let's talk about the Family Fun Day event. It was cheap. It was mediocre. It was mid, everything that Robin is. I don't expect anything. Like she said, it wasn't a lot of thought or money put into that event. It was literally something she threw together. They asked her about not inviting Wendy's children. Listen, Robin is going to try to slither her way out of this. We've already discussed this. Robin was being mean to Wendy, and her children were collateral damage. And in order to clean everything up, she filmed that scene with Juan. I'm going to call Auntie Candiace. No, Candiace is not Auntie anything. She hasn't even met my children. And Robin knows damn well that if it was hers, she wouldn't let her children go with someone they don't even know. Get in a car with them, to say the least. Not that Candiace would do anything, but still, I'm going to give you my children, my most prized possessions, put them in a car with a stranger to them, and send them to someplace where a person doesn't like me? Absolutely not. If I can't go, my children can't go, period. Andy asked Robin about, is it Copen State or a Coppen State? I may be pronouncing it incorrectly. I'm gonna say this, Robin shouldn't have said shit. You know, because basically what she said is that they lying about Juan and they use Juan's name for clickbait. No, baby, I read the article. What they said was that the victim brought his concerns to Juan and Juan did nothing about it. That's what was said. His name was not used for clickbait. Clickbait is when they put his name in the title and then you read it and go, well, this don't have nothing to do with Juan. Juan didn't do anything. Juan absolutely, allegedly did something. I just would have shut my mouth and not said anything. Moving on. Next, we get to Chris Bassett's and the other husband's long-awaited arrival. Before we get into this segment, I actually watched Chris Bassett's interview with, I keep saying Bassett. I'm so fancy. Bassett. Like Basset Hound, right? Not Bassett. But Chris's interview with DJ Richie Sky. I believe every single thing that Chris said. And if you guys didn't catch it, towards the end of the interview, he says that he received an anonymous message one day that told him or relayed to him that both Ashley and Giselle had been paid by a producer on the show to lie even further when they got to the reunion. Giselle was supposed to lie and say that Chris pulled out his penis and showed it to her. Ashley was supposed to lie and say that there was more to the DMs, right? And he initially brushed it off, but then he starts seeing Giselle make her way around the interview chain and, saying, I'm gonna say it all when I get to the reunion. There's things I haven't said. I'm gonna tell it all, which Giselle was saying that she was going to tell it all. So I guess he reached out to the executives and said, listen, we need to discuss this because y'all about to get sued. He didn't say that part, but I added that part in. Met with the executives, showed them the message, and they assured him, oh no, Giselle would never do that. She loves the show. He was like, all right, but I'm just telling you, and this is what she's been doing. She's been saying she's gonna tell it all. So FYI, this is what I stumbled across. So mysteriously, when Giselle gets out on stage and Candiace and Chris are asking her, well, do you have anything else? Because you've been saying you had more. You were going to tell it all. What all is there? And she would go, oh, no, I don't have anything at the moment. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Those executives took that information that Chris gave them. They went directly to Ashley and Giselle. And they said, hey, I know you all wouldn't do this. I know you all love the show so much. You all weren't paid by our producer, right? Yeah, you weren't paid. Is this true? Did this happen? Oh, okay. You know what? I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding. I'm sure it's just someone trying to start some drama. But just in case, when you all go out there, whatever it is, I wouldn't say it. See, because I know how this works, right? They're not going to accuse you, which they should do an investigation. Bravo should absolutely do an investigation. They should investigate the production company and they should investigate Ashley and Giselle. Because those are some very serious allegations to make. You were willing to basically snipe this man's reputation just for season 7. Well, what the hell do you have planned for season 8? Because y'all some dangerous mama jammers. I 100% believe that story, and I believe that someone did pay Giselle, because you can go back to her interviews right before the reunions. She kept saying that she was going to tell it all. But then she got there and she was, who? I said, is there an owl in the room? Because you ain't answering the question. Who is not an answer to the question. And I 100% believe that those executives beelined towards Giselle and Ashley and said, listen, we're sure this isn't true. But just in case it is, when you go out there, you better keep it cute and put it on mute, because you're going to get us sued. And that's why she was sitting there not able to articulate herself, because this plan that her and Ashley came up with had to simmer down. If not, it was going to be some furniture moving. So there's that. Happy Eddie allegation. Eddie said he's easygoing. He's easygoing. A lot of things don't bother him. He just lets it roll off his shoulder. He ignores a lot of it. But my thoughts, and I said this in part 2, is that a lot of these women don't know what it means for a man to be nice to them and not want anything in return. And so anytime a man smiles at them, oh, he has to be flirting with me. He seemed a little happy because he smiled at you. Like, what are we doing, you all? What are we doing to where someone can't even be nice to you without you accusing them of sexual misconduct or inappropriateness? It's all really very tired. You all really wore that thin this reunion, and you should be ashamed of yourselves, but you're not. Anything for a check, G. So they talk about G's feelings revolving around Mia's cancer scare. And, to my surprise, G really seemed upset. I was like, oh, he does like Mia. These May December relationships, you never know, because I don't see the love with Ashley and Michael. So maybe there is something real between G and Mia, but it upset him. He didn't want her to be ill. He didn't want anything to happen to her. They have children, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, G was in his feelings about that. He clarifies that he has not had any sexual relationships with any of her friends, and that Peter Thomas's ex-girlfriend, that was more like a touch and grab situation. Not my words, but his. Moving on. Next, we get to Chris versus Giselle. And let me tell you something. Chris and Candiace did not disappoint when they told her to get to it and hurry the F up. That's exactly the way you talk to a gutter snipe. Like Giselle, baby. Let me tell you something. Candiace said gutter snipe from the pits of her stomach. When I tell you she summons Iyanla and every single ancestor she had, baby, Candiace was pissed and she was not playing. And I don't blame her, because I would have been the same way. And I'm not going to sit up here and lie to y'all. Had it been me, I would have been over on that couch. I would have dove on her, baby. You're not going to sit up in here and lie on my husband like that. No, ma'am. Absolutely not. But anyways, Chris said he was very shocked by the claims, and he maintains that he never asked to go in her room, that she offered her room. But he says, you know what? Let's say I did ask you, right? Which is what Candiace was trying to make the point in part 1. Let's say he did ask you. When you opened your door and you didn't see your team in your room, glam team, then why did you say, oh, no, Chris, we can't talk here. No one's in here. Let's talk out there. Let's talk in the hallway. Let's talk in the lobby. There were several options. You didn't have to go in your room. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to sequester yourself with a man if you feel uncomfortable. If Giselle's feelings were just, I felt uncomfortable because I'm with my friend's husband and I don't want to think we in here doing anything, that's legit. The problem is all of the sauce lies you added on afterwards. He's a sneaky link. He's trying to see if I'm with it. You know, I've had married men hit on me before. You lined all of this up to make it seem like he was being sexually inappropriate. And that's where you went wrong. So then Chris was like, listen, just tell me what I did. Tell me what I did. And you know, Giselle started stuttering. He said, hurry up, get to it. Well, I'm getting there. And Candiace said, no. She said, no, let's go. The same way you were quick to spill out lies, it is the same way that you're quick to tell the truth. And so when Chris starts cussing and raising his voice and demanding answers, you know, Giselle is like, well, you know, I'm not going to talk to you if you curse at me because that's not cool. And Candiace said, what's not cool is you lying on my family and you a gutter snipe, bitch ass is lying. I said, whoa. Baby, when Candiace cussed Giselle out, I fell off my couch and rolled around, baby. I hollered. I said, Candiace was pissed. You gutter snipe, bitch ass, lying on my family. I said, that's right, Candiace, you tell her. Every single curse word was deserved and more. Every single curse word. So Giselle then, and notice, you know, Chris has admitted that he gets nervous when the cameras are around, so he always has like a drink. And so Giselle goes, well, you were drinking, you were drunk, and I just felt uncomfortable. You put us in that situation. No, Giselle, absolutely not. The same way she blamed Candiace and said that it's Candiace's fault, that this could have all went away easily. Now she's blaming Chris and saying that he put her in the situation. No, if you didn't want to go talk in your room, you did not have to go talk in your room. That was the decision you made. We're not gonna pass the blame off on him. Then we see a shot of Cal and Giselle talking, and Cal of all people, who needs to learn how to style some goddamn hair, blames Chris because he knew that he wasn't in the room. And Chris asked the same question that I've been asking. Who else is on your glam squad? It can't be many people. It can't be. And I think she named some girl named Chelsea or whatever. He was like, but how was I to know that? How am I responsible for knowing all of the members of your glam team? How was I to know they weren't in your room? It's all a lie. It's a lie and it's bull crap. It's bull swanky. Giselle she's just throwing stuff out there and it doesn't even sound right. So then Andy says to Giselle, that's how you feel, but he didn't do anything, right? Because her feelings are not rooted in reality. So then Chris says that the door was basically open. It was cracked because when they came in, he put the lock in the middle of the door. Him and Giselle go back and forth about that not being true. Listen, Giselle don't remember. Giselle rarely remembers anything. Giselle will tell you she said A, B, C, and D, and she actually said X, Y, and Z. Giselle doesn't know. He said, Giselle, you put your robe on top of your dress. No, I didn't. Okay, listen, Chris ain't making that up. You absolutely did that. You took your robe, put it over your dress because you were cold or because you didn't want to stain it. Let's not lie here. Like, it's all a lie. Giselle said that she waited 5 months to say anything because initially she wasn't going to say anything at all. But when Ashley came with the DMs, that's when she was like, oh yeah, we need to talk about this. No, what happened is this was a plot. This was a plan. We were covering up for Robin. Giselle, per usual, doesn't have a storyline. So this fell into her lap. And so she got with Ashley, she got with Mia, and then Ashley brought her friend in the mix, Deborah, and they decided to lie on Chris. That's it. We're not going to keep repeating that. That is what happened. They falsely accused Chris of sexual intimidation, sexual inappropriateness, and sexual misconduct. And that is effing disgusting. And if it were me, all of them would be fired. All of them. Every single last one of them. The only thing that saves Giselle, the reason why this is different from Phaedra is because Phaedra just created a lie and didn't say nothing about it until Portia blew her up at the reunion, right? How Giselle has played this well is that, well, that's how I feel. And she knows about the Me Too movement. She knows about people wanting to believe women because for so long, women have not been believed when we talk about things that have happened to us at the hands of men. She knows that. So she knows if she says, I feel, then people can say, well, it's just how she feels. People can't refute that. Wrong, I can. I told you all. That's not, Giselle don't feel that way. This was a lie. It was a storyline for her, and she's so evil that she was willing to sacrifice someone's entire livelihood and their reputation just for a season 7 storyline. Like I said earlier, I don't know what she got in store for season 8, but baby, you better hide your husbands, hide your boyfriends, hide everybody, because Giselle's gonna come in with guns blazing for them, okay? So Chris brings up to Giselle, you know, there are several times where you've mentioned my penis and the color of it and things, everything else. Giselle couldn't say anything. She was silent. Isn't that interesting? You can talk about you're so uncomfortable in a room with Chris by yourself, but you're not too uncomfortable to discuss his anatomy. If that makes sense to you, then it makes sense to me. Giselle goes, well, I'm apologizing. And Candiace was like, nah, that's not an apology. Candiace and Chris, you need to be on one accord with your wife. If your wife says to Giselle to take that apology and shove it where the sun don't shine, that's exactly what you should have said. I understand it, Chris. You say that you're a forgiving person. You get over things easily. You forgive easily. But watching your interviews, you really don't forgive easily. And you shouldn't forgive easily with Giselle. She attempted to ruin you as a person. She attempted to annihilate you. I wouldn't forgive her either. And you don't have to. It doesn't make you look more mature. It doesn't make you look like a better person. It doesn't make you do any of those things. Period. So when Candiace says she didn't accept the apology, you should have said, I don't accept it. You don't have to curse her. I mean, you already cussed her ass out. So you didn't have to further cuss her out. But you could have said, you know, Giselle, apology not accepted. Because also Giselle kept doing this thing where she would go, I'm apologizing. That's not an apology. What you're saying is you're preparing the audience for your apology. You say, I'm apologizing for saying that. That's not an apology. You need to say, I apologize for lying on you. That is an apology. Still would accept it, but that's an apology. Chris says he regrets apologizing via DM because he knew before he sent it that if he sent it, it would possibly make him look like he admitted to wrongdoing. And Giselle said, well, you did. And you know, I'm entitled to how I feel. You're not. You're not entitled to how you feel when it's rooted in lies, period. So this is when Candiace goes off. And I'm going to tell y'all now, Y'all already know me. If you know me and you're not new here, you know how I'm going to address this white looking ass comment. If you don't know me, hold my beer and take a seat. I have no problem with what Candiace said. I am not a black person who engages in respectability politics. I'm not gonna lie and say I never have, but I have evolved from that for many, many years now. Playing respectability politics gets you nowhere as a black person. It gets you absolutely nowhere. I have a friend, she swears, well, if Candiace calling her a white looking ass, it allowed Ashley to introduce the reverse colorism argument. No. Ashley was going to do that regardless because Ashley is a colorist. She doesn't even believe colorism exists within the group. You all saw part 2. You saw how she was like, well, Candiace, how do you know people don't like you because of your skin? How do you know it's not your personality? And then when she didn't want to get canceled, that's when I acknowledge my privilege or whatever. That whatever was rooted in being dismissive. So it didn't matter what Candiace said. Ashley is very aggravated by this colorism conversation. And if she wasn't colorist, she wouldn't be aggravated. That shit don't aggravate me. We do need to talk about this. Do you think I would want to be a part of a group and someone accuses the group of being colorist and I'm not trying to iron that ish out right there? I don't ever want you to think I'm that way. So we're going to talk about it right now. And in case you don't know my position, you would know it then. I wouldn't be aggravated by my colleagues and coworkers discussing colorism. I would welcome that conversation. This ain't got nothing to do with Candiace. We're not going to play the good Negro. We're not going to course correct Wendy, because I'm very disappointed in you, Dr. Wendy. And it doesn't mean I dislike you. I just disagree with your method, because you telling Candiace, remember our earlier discussion and our discussion about words and what they mean. Who gives a damn? Giselle and Ashley, Karen, Mia, they say whatever they want with no type of disciplinary action behind it. Candiace says, what Candiace was saying is that Giselle has features that gives her the privilege of being believed more than someone who is Candiace's complexion. And what she's saying is that she utilized that privilege in order to falsely accuse her husband. I'm happy that Candiace said, do I apologize for what I said? No. And that's exactly what she should have said. When she called her, you all didn't like that she cursed, or maybe you don't like the tone around it. But Candiace was not wrong. She was not wrong. Giselle has been mediocre since this show started. Giselle had the audacity to sit on our screens on season 1 and say that she had a pedigree, and yes, she was living in a 500 square foot apartment with white appliances. Go back and watch it. Go back and watch it. She had a white refrigerator sitting up there, but she had a pedigree. How do you divorce a pastor and you living in a 500 square foot apartment with white appliances? Honey, there are apartments in the hood who got stainless steel. And you and your pedigree that your daddy have, he couldn't afford no stainless steel appliances for you and his grandbabies. Come on now. Everything about Giselle is mid at best. The only thing she has going for her is this, and she knows it. And she knows it. And I blame the producers for allowing her to slide by season after season after season without a storyline. They did this. They created this monster. And now we got to deal with her. It's their fault. If it were me, anybody who produced season 7, they would be completely scrubbed. Season 8, we need to hit the reset button, period. Now, during this colorism conversation, Ashley literally accuses Candiace of reintroducing the colorism into their group. She says, I've never talked about anyone's skin tone. Lies. You did it season 1 with Giselle and Robin. You all have European looking features. I looked around, baby, they're not the only ones. Pot? Kettle? Like, what's going on here? She then says to Candiace, Ashley says, so our conversation earlier meant nothing, so it doesn't apply to you? No, because there's no such thing as reverse colorism. And the fact that you even believe that, it's like if someone believes there's reverse racism. There's no such thing. It's nothing I can ever say as a Black person for you to say there's reverse racism. There's nothing that a melanin rich person could ever say to make someone say, oh, there's reverse colorism. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing. And that right there should tell you that not only was Ashley disingenuous about the conversation, but that she's also a colorist. Ferocious Wendy, rah, rah. I'll never forget that, and I'll never let it leave her down. And let me tell you something. Ash, you had the nerve to sit up there and mention that and say, well, I just didn't think it was appropriate. And as soon as Candiace said, well, there are a lot of things that occur in this group that I don't agree with that are inappropriate. As soon as Candiace said that, then you wanted to back down. Well, we're not going to go back in the past. We're going to let bygones be bygones. No, we're not going to let bygones be bygones because you inserted your nose in something that had nothing to do with you. Wendy was talking to Candiace. And here you go inserting your opinion when it was not necessary. You should have sat back with that dusty ass wig on your hair and shut up. There's a lot of things. You know what's funny, Ashley, is that there are a lot of things that are inappropriate that goes on. It's inappropriate that you called Wendy ferocious. It's inappropriate that Michael called Candiace a criminal, and to my knowledge, she's never been arrested or charged with a crime. It's inappropriate for you and Giselle to create a lie about someone's husband just because you don't like them. And because you needed a storyline. It's inappropriate for Michael to go around grabbing people and assaulting them. There's a lot of inappropriateness that happens on Potomac. Candiace's common white-looking ass is far from it, period. I'm not here for that. Please. I'm just not here for it. And see, as soon as Candiace spoke up, Ashley didn't want to go backwards. No, we're going to go backwards. Because you should have just sat there and shut up. This is why, Wendy, you shouldn't have even said nothing. If you was going to say something, you should have just said it to the side, because now that gave them ammunition to say, well, she always brings up someone's color. Honey, the cast of Potomac, let's just keep it real. When we all saw this cast first season, we all were thinking the same thing. Oh, all light-skinned women. Oh, and Charisse. The reason why Atlanta doesn't have these difficulties, because it's an array of Black women. It's not just all light-skinned women and we're just going to throw one dark-skinned woman in the mix. Absolutely not. Any problems they have on Atlanta is truly because of personality conflicts. But on Potomac, it's deeply rooted. Pedigree. Remember the first season? Robin and Giselle sitting around discussing how people mistake them for white, which I don't know how. Giselle looks like a Black woman. She just has a lighter skin tone. She has green eyes, but she looks like a Black woman. Remember them discussing that? You know I'm Black when I open my mouth, though. You forgot about that, didn't you, Ashley? Okay. Just a little reminder. It's more of those type of colorist remarks. But yet Candiace is the only one that brings it up. Okay. So moving along, Chris says he accepts Giselle's apology and Candiace did not. I would not have accepted her apology. I did like the cuss out that Chris and Candiace gave Giselle. It was well deserved. There were other things that Giselle deserved but that she didn't get. But my favorite part was the get to it. I would love to hear her, Candiace say, get to it. You know what I mean? Get to it. Really put some authority behind it. But that didn't happen. But we did get the gutter snipe. And I was satisfied with that. I was. And that's exactly what Giselle deserved. And if you notice, Giselle sat there and shut her mouth. Then she didn't have much to say because she already knew. And that also lends itself to what I was saying earlier about Chris receiving that anonymous message. I 100% believe that Giselle was going to come out there and lie on that man. Absolutely. Absolutely. What a piece of trash. What did Candiace say? Gutter snipe trash. That's exactly what Giselle is. Now, let's go ahead and wrap this up. We move on to the Miami trip. Nothing to discuss here. Wendy just wanted to clear up that her and Mia did not have any type of sexual interactions. They got drunk, they went out, and everyone started showing each other their vaginas. Not my idea of fun, but I'm gonna let them have it. Then we talked to Ray. Andy wants to know what are Ray's thoughts about the cheating allegations on Karen. And Ray said, you know, as a whole, I'm disappointed in the majority of the ladies. This season was really nasty. 100% it was. 100%. And it was led by that damn Giselle and Ashley, right? And he says, listen, I don't believe the rumors. Is there a photo? Karen has never seen the photo because Robin didn't give it to her. Ray has never seen the photo, and he doesn't believe the rumors. What else do we have to talk about? Let's move on. Next, we get to the end of the reunion, and they start playing Candiace's song. I do not know the name of Candiace's song, but it's cute. And Bravo was shady because when they were playing the part of I Think You're Insecure, they showed Robin and they faded into her Watch What Happens live segment. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this either. So there are two theories here. One theory is that Robin did not know about this affair, that she found out when we found out when the TikToker spilled the beans, you know, like a month ago, I guess now. Then the other theory is that she knew from the beginning, or, you know, beginning, and then decided to cover and not bring it out on the show. Either way you put it, it doesn't matter which theory you lean towards more. If you lean towards Robin really did not know and she found out when we did, the problem is she's still covering for Juan. And Andy asked her that question, like, you know, how do you feel that you always have to come to Juan's defense? Well, I'm not defending him, I'm defending us. No, you're defending Juan. And yet every time we see him around you, he's completely annoyed, couldn't be bothered, rather not be on camera. She said the affair happened in November 2021 and she didn't bring it to the show because she thought Karen was going to say something. All of it is BS. The bottom line is that I do think Robin knew from the beginning. I do think she didn't bring it up on the show because she was embarrassed, because she knew what people was going to say. I don't think, you know, Juan would have to do something life-changing for Robin to leave him. She's not leaving him. She's going to be with him. And honestly, I don't think we should give it any other energy. She lied to cover for Juan and herself. Robin is embarrassed. And honestly, everything that she did to cover this up was futile, because now look at it. They constantly flash back to it throughout the reunions. They constantly called out when she was being a hypocrite. And then you had to be grilled by your boss on national TV. Girl, you should have just you should have just went ahead and let that shit go during the season. That way you would have to discuss it during the reunion and that was it. Now they done drug you across social media. They done drug you during a 3-part reunion. Baby, you know, part of me feels a little bit sorry for Robin because, as I said in part 2, unrequited love has to be hell. It has to be one of the worst things you can experience in terms of a romantic relationship, when you love someone and they don't love you back. But at the same time, Robin's an adult. But I think Juan is really all she knows, and I think she's comfortable with him. And so if that's the case, child, Robin ain't leaving that man. There's really nothing else to say. Robin is not leaving him. In terms of who should return, I think the entire production should be fired because they have allowed Giselle to do nothing year after year. This was not the first year that she did not have a storyline. She hasn't had a storyline for multiple seasons. When Andy asked her, if you're still dating that guy from Summer House, will he be on next season? That was his way of telling her, like, you need to have a storyline. Like, we can't keep doing this. So Giselle, you've been put on notice. Ashley shouldn't come back because she's a liar too. Mia is a liar and she's violent. Robin's a liar and she's aggressive and violent. Just press reset. Press reset. If I had to pick the top 2 that I didn't want to see come back, for me personally, although I know it's not going to happen, Giselle, and then second is Mia. I think Robin should be reduced. And once Juan sees that reduced paycheck, maybe he might get a little pep in his step and show up to some reunion. So if there is nothing else, get down in the comments and tell me what you thought about reunion part 3. I have no clue what else is on TV for me to review, but I'm sure I'll find something. So with that, if there's nothing else, I will see you all later. Mwah.